Okay, so far Kristen was the best speaker by far, and that was pretty harsh, bringing out somebody whose dad died and saying he died because he believed in Trump. Good, I like that. That's true. That's true. Don't be afraid to say things that are true. And I thought Cuomo did a pretty good speech there. I'm surprised by how short it was. I guess these are all going to be really short. Cuomo had a great line in there. He said, Trump didn't create division, the division created Trump. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I wish we would listen to that more often. I wish Cuomo would listen to that more often too. And part of the division is driven by the income inequality, by basically the classism that we have now. And unfortunately, a lot of the Democratic Party leadership has fed into that. But I want to say that Cuomo and then Kristen combo right there, that was the best part so far. I mean, we just got started, so it's not that surprising. But we've had a decent amount of critique so far. But I'll tell you that the number one reason I'd vote for Biden over Trump is competence. And I don't mean that Joe Biden is an amazingly competent leader. I mean that he'll bring sanity back to government and he'll surround himself with competent technocrats. And there's downsides to that, like when they start wars. But there's tremendous upsides to it when we've had this roller coaster ride led by I think a literal lunatic. And especially when disaster like coronavirus hits, we need that competency so badly. The incompetence cost us literally hundreds of thousands of lives. And if you remember, the very first thing I told you about Trump was his number one problem isn't the racism. It's horrific, it's terrible, but his number one problem is his incompetence. And boy, unfortunately, did that prove to be correct.
Yeah, exactly, which is why when he actually chooses someone who knows how to get the job done, it's so scaring. Like DeJoy actually seems to know what he's doing in destroying the post office. DeVos has been quite successful. Most of the people he chooses are absolutely incompetent, just like him. Yeah, so I thought that the pointing out that the father died as a result of trusting Trump, I think is a great thing to drive home because it combines the fact that we should never forget how many died and how many didn't need to, with the active misinformation and deceiving the American public, continuing until today about what the pandemic is actually like and how much you should care about it. Her father was not the only one. I don't know. No one will ever know how many died as a result of believing the wrong people, but it's definitely thousands, probably tens of thousands, who didn't believe that this was serious, and they ended up with that position because they trusted the wrong politicians and they watched the wrong news channel. Honestly, with Cuomo, I thought that his address was probably good, and although it boggles my mind, he's obviously a very popular nationwide politician. I think that there's a lot of issues with the way he responded to coronavirus in New York, but they did get it under control, so that's gonna look good in hindsight. The thing about him saying that the quote about the division though is, it strikes me as everything gets taken, like acknowledging that Trump is not this unique problem, that he is perhaps in some way an inevitable outcome of so much of what was wrong with our government, is a thing that like so many people fought to get people to understand. And now it's a line that's thrown into a Cuomo speech. But it's not just the division that led to Donald Trump. That's like the easiest, shallowest part of the problem to diagnose. It's the policy as well, the allowing huge amounts of money and corruption to shake people's belief that their elected representatives will ever represent them. It's all of that, and I just don't like seeing it taken to its shallowest, easiest to criticize form, basically.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.